Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what to eat. I took you through kind of a day of eating, and oh, Chewie's going to make an appearance here. I took you through a day of eating, and now let's talk a little bit about like when you can't cook. Let's say you're out and about, you're going to appointments, maybe you're traveling, something like that, and you're trying to get your calories in for the day, or you're trying to get your protein in for the day. When you're trying to keep your protein up and you're trying to get your calories, it's tough to do whenever you're traveling or you're away from home and you can't control all the foods you eat. I don't know how much you can hear this panting into the mic, but it's going to be great. So anyway, when I first started cutting my calories, I actually wasn't cooking at home a lot. I was eating a lot of these types of things. So this is a Quest protein bar, and what I found a lot of times was this was an easy way for me to get a quick 21 grams of protein was out of a bar like this. This is a good way for you to get your protein in, and then it's also 190 calories for the whole bar. So a lot of the times I wouldn't eat a snack, I would just eat one of these bars in between meals. But what I started to find was my digestion was not all that great. And so I didn't really understand why that was. I didn't really get it. But digging in a bit further, I started to understand that this had something called sugar alcohols in it. And so the thing with sugar alcohols is that some people can tolerate it fine, some people can't. And the people that can typically tolerate it, they can't tolerate a lot of it. And this has 5 grams in one bar. And so I was eating like 2 of these bars a day, and that was causing me to have some serious gastrointestinal upset. So these are good for like if you're traveling and this is all you can eat. You're on an airplane or something and you don't want to eat airplane food. Don't blame me on that one. So these are really good to fill the gap. Another type of, I'll tell you what my favorite fill the gap one is, and Chewie apparently loves these too, is these legendary chocolate cake flavored protein pastry by Legendary. These, if you're a Pop-Tart fan, this is essentially a chocolate Pop-Tart. And these are really, really, really good. So they're 180 calories for this one. It has 20 grams of protein. But unfortunately, what you're going to find with these Quest bars and this is the reason they taste so good is they do have a lot of fat in them. So for example, this bar right here has 8 grams of fat. This has 8 grams of fat. And so I know we haven't talked about macros yet, but I typically try to stay below 20%. So 20% fat, 30% from carbohydrates, and then 50% from protein. Because as you probably remember, I get about 200 grams of protein a day. I feel like that's what my body needs. And keeping your protein up while you're dieting is really important, and so is strength training, so you can keep your muscle as much as you can. Because we talked about that a little bit in I think it was either the first or second episode, where if you cut your calories, but you're not exercising, you're not doing some strength or resistance training, and you're not keeping your protein up, you're going to lose a significant amount of muscle. Maybe not at first, but eventually you will, and that's not what you want. You want to lose fat and not muscle. So going back to that, these foods have a lot of fat in them. In fact, I love this birthday cake one from Quest. It's really, really good. This one has 7 grams of fat, so it's not too bad, but it's got 9 grams of sugar alcohols. And so this one specifically, I love the taste of it and I love to eat it. However, it jacks my stomach up something fierce. So anyway, it's best to try to get your calories and your nutrients from whole foods. If you can, pack a lunch or something like that. I also was eating a lot of deli meats. And deli meats is another one of those that is very convenient. You can just kind of get it at the grocery store, you slap it on a bun and eat it. The bad thing is that it's usually ground up, a bunch of different ground up parts, and it's usually processed. And so those cause me some GI discomfort as well. So just kind of watch out for that. But, I think some of that's okay. Like if you're in a crunch, it's better to eat something like that where you can control the calories rather than going, stopping through a drive-through at Wendy's or Jack in the Box or McDonald's and eating a meal that's probably like 1,600 calories. So, do what you need to do. But I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, how I was supplementing some of my eating when I was on the move or when I was busy or on a lot of meetings and I couldn't cook or something like that. These protein supplements can be really good for that. And then also some of the powders that I talked about too before. In the day of eating, I think I had my post-workout, I had a protein powder that's whey-based, and that's really good too. Those are actually probably a little bit easier on your stomach than some of these because they don't have typically that formula that I use there does not have sugar alcohols in it, so it won't cause the kind of discomfort that some of these do. But yeah, so kind of keep an eye on that. Don't eat too many of these Quest bars like I did to start out. I literally was eating like 2 or 3 of them a day, and that while it seemed good because it's a very compact food that I could control the calories and the calories, and I could get protein in. So it seemed to be really convenient for me, but at the same time, it did cause a lot of GI gastrointestinal upset. So watch for that. And your significant other or your friends will thank me for that because, they won't want to be around you with some of that GI discomfort. But anyway, so second thing I want to talk a little bit about today is setting your goal. So I touched on it in the earlier episodes about setting how much weight you want to lose. And I think that's important to do, and I think it's important to be conservative about it. Because what's going to happen is when you first start to control your calories, you're probably going to just inherently be cutting down on carbohydrates. And when you cut down on those carbohydrates, your body is going to shed a ton of water. So there's water in your muscles, there's water all over your body. So you're going to lose a lot of water in the beginning. But then when you lose about 10 or 15 pounds, you might keep going. But in my case, I plateaued pretty hard. And that can be frustrating. And the thing I don't want you to do at that point is I don't want you to decrease your calories even more at that point. What I would probably tell you to do is to, maybe increase your exercise just a little bit. And also though, but just be patient too, because there were a lot of times where, I wouldn't lose a pound or so in 3 or 4 days. And that was very different than at the beginning when I was losing like 2 pounds a week or 3 pounds a week even. And even in the beginning, I lost like 10 pounds in like 2 weeks. And so that early gratification is good for encouragement at the beginning, but it can also kind of bite you because you'll lose steam and you'll lose faith, if you will, in are you doing the right thing? And some people just bail out right there, and that's why diets fail, and that's why the resurgence of weight and a lot of people gain weight right back is because one, they don't really understand that this is going to be a lifelong change for you. They think it's a temporary diet thing, and sure, they lose weight, but the minute they go off the diet, they just gain it all back. But 2, they get frustrated, and then when they get frustrated, they just go and pig out, and they're like, what's the point? Screw it, I'm just going to go eat a bunch of food. And that's not something you want to do either. So just stick with it, be patient. Don't make any major changes. But, I just set your goal to be pretty realistic at first. So for me, it was, hey, I want to be under 200 pounds by the new year. And so I set that goal at the end of September. So that gave me essentially 3 months to lose about 23 pounds. So, if you do like 2 pounds a week, that was 12 weeks. So that was 24 pounds. So that's why I felt like if I lose 2 pounds a week, average, I could get below 200. And I was able to do it. But I'll tell you, and my wife could attest to this, like all during December, when stress is a little higher, you're not getting as much sleep, that weight started to really stall out. I was stuck at like 205 and I just could not get past it. And so I was starting to really increase my exercise. I was cutting my calories even more. And when I look back, that was hasty because I really feel like that probably cost me a little bit of weight loss. If I had just stayed the course, I think I could have lost it a little bit more steadier. And I think I probably lost a little muscle because I was doing that. So just be patient with it and keep it up. But but set a goal that's reasonable for you. And if you don't hit that goal, go back and assess, go figure out why. Was it that you weren't weighing your food? Well, if you didn't weigh your food, then you were probably overeating. You weren't eating in that calorie deficit that you thought you were. So maybe introduce weighing your food. And even if you're not weighing all your food, start out by weighing like 1 meal a day and then work up. But that could be why. Maybe you're going off the exercise that your watch tells you that you did, and then you're eating past your calorie deficit or your calorie max because you think you're offsetting that exercise. Well, that could be inflated. So you're actually eating higher than what you're burning off, and therefore you're reducing your calorie deficit, and you're not losing weight. So that could be another reason. So just kind of go back and kind of audit yourself. Make sure you're logging your food. Make sure that you are being realistic about the exercise that you're doing. In fact, I'd say at the beginning, I think I talked about this in the early episodes, I didn't even look at the exercise offset. I was just laser focused on those calories. So even if I did walk like a mile a day or 2 miles a day or something like that, even today, I don't add that to what I can eat that day because it's just not accurate. You can't really measure it. And also, it probably makes up for the measurement errors that I'm probably still making today. So it just gives you a little bit of buffer. So I wouldn't count it. I would just stay laser focused on the calories. So that's a lot of content. We talked about meal replacement or meal supplementation with, like these protein bars and things, and some of the considerations there. We talked about setting goals for your weight. Talked a little bit about macros, but we'll get more into that as we keep going. But keep tracking your calories, weigh your food, make sure you're, do the stand efforting, walk 10 minutes after every meal. My wife and I just did that. It's very hot outside, so I'm probably sweating on this video. You can hear Chewie breathing into the mic, so yeah, he's hot too. But walk 10 minutes after every meal and incorporate some strength training, however you want to do that, and you'll see some results. So thanks for watching. I know you can do it. Stick with it, and I will see you in the next video.